Adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming. It's a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives.
My name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old.
All right, we swing right into summer. We swing right into summer of beers. Thank you, everybody who's been writing in. We're trying our best to find some of the suggestions. We're going to be a little bit limited. Probably need to do a U.S. tour.
That sounds like a great idea.
Dads across America.
Yeah.
Hit all the breweries, but keep sending in. So send in your beer suggestions and stories and everything else. We have a great story from a listener, Luke, this week. Adored it, loved the question, can't wait to talk about it. But do you have a beer suggestion? Do you have a story that you want to read on air? Do you have a gaming tip? Anything else out for other dads? Would love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. Now, for this one, we start right off with a beer pun because there's any raison for a saison.
Oh my God.
Coming in hot.
You had that in the bank. You're like, I can use it tonight. This is great.
I was, as soon as I drank it, I thought about it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be perfect for the podcast.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't like the beer. But spoiler, I did very much. Now, this brewery, I've talked about this one before. Waterloo Brewing, it happens to be close to where I grew up. And so a bit of a hometown favorite for myself. If you can come across it, I think it's only based in Ontario, Canada. So sadly, it's a little bit limited. If you can somehow come across it, anything from Waterloo Brewing is a smash. They tend to make some delicious stuff. Really great local company. However, despite that particular brand of it, what I have been interested in is the type of beer Saison.
Okay.
Which, oh, man, I hope, if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Saison.
Saison.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm riding this wave with you, so.
Anybody, please write, if I'm saying it wrong, please write in and save my embarrassment. But I have found that I've really been enjoying this type of beer. It's a little bit towards kind of like the fruity wheat style, but not without that kind of wheat taste to it. So I think you might even enjoy it, Jeff. It's got some of those more interesting notes without the weediness of wheat beer, if that would make any sense. So this one in particular, it goes pretty wild. So true to style, our Saison is lightly dry with subtle hints of clove. It has you reaching for a second, which very much, like, it is stunning. So there's specifically Waterloo Saison, but otherwise, dads, I'd suggest if you can find a Saison near you, check it out. Now, Jeff, what did you dip into this week?
I actually had a Father's Day gift of some beers given on the day of.
The greatest Father's Day gift.
I know, right? So it was a mix, and it was a great mix with just some non-alcoholic ones in there, and one that I tried was Libra Pale Ale. And I guess we're fans of just having beers that are just available in Canada and nowhere else. So people have to come up here to try our whole slew of our list of beers. But this is out of PEI. And you can get it, I guess, across the country in the liquor stores. But again, just a simple, easy to drink pale ale. And it was one that we talked about before. It's non-alcoholic, so it's, it tastes like beer. It just doesn't give you that little extra oomph. But it was a good one to just, again, have out, cut in the grass, and you're not going to get anything from this. So it's quite good, though, and it's by Upstreet. So they have a bunch of other ones that I might look at trying as part of the pack. So
that's awesome. So what I'm happy about, because your first foray into, for anyone just joining us as of this episode, we'd started the year with non-alcoholic beer, just to give it a shout out, give it a couple of options. I had some great options. Jeff did not.
No.
Jeff hated it. So we were the two sides of the coin. So I'm pretty excited to hear that you'd found a non-alcoholic that sparked your fancy.
Yeah, I had to continue until I found one that really hit. Otherwise, I'd be like, well, this was ruined forever. I can never find one. So, no, it's good.
Nice. All right, so that wraps it up. Hey, gaming dads, again, if you have any beer suggestions, we'll do our best to find it. We've received a couple. We'll continue to try to source them out. So write us at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. Now, listener of the show, Luke, has written in with a quandary, a request, if you will. And I will put it out there to the greater dad hive mind for anybody that could write in with some suggestions. But Jeff and I did want to cover it. Had us a bit stumped, actually. We were talking about this before the show. I'm not sure we had a Great answer. Let's see where we get to. So Luke writes, hey guys, long-time listener, curious on your thoughts of what device to add to our house. I've got 3 boys, 9, 7, 5. That's chaos. Very good.
That is, yeah.
The gaming dads are thinking of you, brother. So lately, screen time has become chaotic as we only have the Xbox. Parentheses, my Xbox.
It's yours no longer. Yeah.
Yeah. I do love when the young ones decide to take ownership of it. So my oldest right now will call it like his Xbox, and it's like, no. Like, that is Dad's Xbox that you're allowed to play with his grace. All right. So I have the Xbox, my Xbox, downstairs, and an old Wii with limited games upstairs. The odd time, one will choose a parent's phone or the house PC to just watch YouTube or random games for their screen time, but lately it's been all 3 wanting to stagger their times to play their 3 individual games downstairs. We have 4 controllers, but they don't want to play the same things ever. That's, of course.
Yeah, of course.
There's a deal right now for $100 off the Switch OLED at Shoppers out here, but I hear you guys talk about the Steam Deck plenty too. What is the Nintendo Live monthly charge? Is my head getting the Switch mean getting extra Joy-Cons and Mario Party for family gaming nights? But that's got to add another $200 to the bill, plus $90 for a game that we may not all agree on. Or does starting an account give you something free to play? That's on like the Nintendo Live service. Summer starting and a few multi-digit hour road trips coming up. Calgary and Jasper. I wish they would resell some original Game Boys. That's how road trips went smooth back in my day. It's Father's Day. Thank you guys for the podcast every week. The kids are in bed. Writing this email has made me realize how nice Xbox Game Pass is.
Yeah.
Maybe a second Xbox for upstairs is the move. Time to pour an adult beverage. Excellent email, Luke. And what a quandary. So here's the problem. So like I think the headspace was right. Nintendo Switch, Nintendo games. We're talking Smash Brothers, Mario Party, oh my goodness, so I can't think of the kart game. Mario Kart.
Yes, I was about to say, I'm like,
It's like Mario Kart, one of the biggest titles ever. Mario Kart, awesome, like multiplayer. Boomerang Fu, one of our like favorite of the show. But the problem is not enough access to the games. You have a system with 4 controllers. They just don't want to play the same thing. And I don't know that adding a Nintendo is going to resolve that.
No.
So like what immediately comes to mind for you? This is bit of a tricky one if you had to add our system to this house.
Yeah, and again, like we talked a little bit about this before coming on the show, and it is a hard one because, like you were mentioning, Nintendo is a very hard field to get into, and it's very expensive to get into if you haven't got a Nintendo already. Mm-hmm. And just to answer his question about the online stuff, like if you have one account, it's like $25 a year. If you have a family account, that's like $50, right? And that doesn't get you games. That gives you retro games. So like you're not getting anything new. You're getting the old Super Nintendo, Nintendo, and I think Game Boy, and then the rest are locked. So if that's not your jam, I wouldn't enter this into the equation. And if the kids don't like it, like it's probably not worth it. But the Steam Deck is a great device. I've always said it's an awesome device, but that's only if you have a library to kind of support it. And if you're comfortable with that age range handling a $500 piece of hardware.
It's very droppable.
It's very droppable. At least with Nintendo, you get some kind of flexibility in the drop. Like they are not new at this, right? Steam Deck is very much a PC in your hands. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. The only positive with the Steam Deck is like maybe you have the Game Pass be able to stream to it. But I think we were talking before, like even that has its own set of problems. And I'm just thinking of the accounts that you have to create and keep track of and all that gobbledygook that kind of goes along with it.
So let's run down these options. So option number 1, buy another Xbox. So now you have 2 Xboxes in the house. Now the numbers are still not adding up because there's 4 of you and then 2 systems. So perhaps like it could be a 2-on-2 situation. Perhaps they can convince one. Let's even put it to 3. The first chaotic focus is 3. Okay. So as long as you could have 1 on PC, 2 on the Xbox, you're kind of calming that down a little bit, right? Especially with Game Pass, if you're streaming now, what I have discovered, they might have updated, so we could perhaps come back with an update. But if you are trying to stream someone can't be using the Xbox system itself, the same account.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, even if you had your gaming PC, even if it's not a gaming PC, you can't really stream to it and going there. That kind of gets you out of the woods. So another Xbox might be a decent answer. The one I'd kind of thought about, a little bit akin to what we'd done here, was potentially some either Chromebooks or Android tablets. This really gets down to like what are they playing? Is one of the games or some of the games Fortnite? Is it Roblox? Is it, XYZ, like kind of free
Minecraft, anything?
Yeah. Minecraft and any of them? Because if that's the case, the thing about tablets would be, A, they get their own little device, so they're all separated. B, they can play all of those games. If those are kind of like the key focus ones, there's a lot of other ones that you can control and that are good on Android tablets too. Additional bonus, they all have now their tablet that you can download Netflix and get like good Disney movies too for the upcoming road trips. Not only could they play their games on themselves, they can have those systems as well. So and you think about the cost of, and I'll give you this advice too, do not buy Fire tablets. Do not.
We've heard that before, right?
Do not buy Amazon Fire tablets. It will tempt you, and they suck. Like I'm sorry, but they are just so archaic in how they get their system across. Don't buy those. But you can still get cheap ones or even used ones. You could probably fit in 3 for the cost of an Xbox, at least. Right? Xbox running at like 300, 350, 350. You could get 3 Android tablets for that price.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then also, even if you did have game streaming, like theoretically on one of those tablets, there for some dad game downtime, whatever else, you could actually even be streaming to it.
Right. I think in the end, though, we all arrived at the same conclusion that no matter how many devices you'll have in the house, the kids will always want to play the same one. It doesn't matter what it is or how good it or whatever it's streaming to. It's my turn. Why isn't it my turn? So
I think the other interesting thing, you could mix it up. So you could introduce and again, like I'm spending other people's money, so it's
that's the best part
to produce. You could almost imagine a world where it's like you get one decent Android tablet, but then you also get like a retro console, like my handheld that I got, like a Pocket Gear or whatever.
Yeah.
That then loads up all the ROMs. So you can get ROMs up to PS1, no issue. So now you have this kind of like old school flavor, nice portable. You mentioned Game Boy inside of your list. So you can kind of like harken back to those days. Depends if your kids are going to be into that type of retro thing. Add a tablet in the mix, add that. But I honestly, in speaking this out, I think I'm arriving at the Android tablet resolution, depending, as long as it's not like their favorite game is NHL 23. It's like, well, sorry.
It's not going to work. Yeah. Again, like you're talking through, the only thing that kind of popped into my head was with the Switch when we got the Nintendo, and there was some kind of, the kids wanted to go in the same time. We did make a day of going to the library and getting a Nintendo Switch game, and they got to pick out each one themselves because it's free, whatever. Yeah. But they had to decide the time, and that was like the requirement. So if you guys can't figure out the gameplay time between yourselves, then we won't go to the library again and get the next game. Like it was an interesting way to play it, and Nintendo seems to not be getting out of the physical cartridges, which is what has kind of Nintendo is the positive there. But Game Pass is so powerful to be able to fire up any console and just go ahead and play depending on the accounts. So Android tablet sounds like it's a doable thing, especially for those road trips, right? And
it's just the dual benefit of road trips. And again, but it depends. Like if I don't think your kids would be into Halo, but for instance, like any like actual beefy Microsoft game is not going to be running on tablets. So
yeah, let's be honest. It's Minecraft, Roblox, or Fortnite. Like this is the big 3 of the youth. So
we can't say that for certain, but we're fairly confident that's exactly what it is.
At least one of those, yeah.
If not all. So hey, gaming dads that are listening, have you had a similar situation like this that you can pitch a solution to Luke? Would love to pass along your answers or even read them here live on air. Give us a message, newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. Luke, thank you so much for writing in, and cheers to your next gaming session. Now, Jeff is going to be having a gaming session coming up, which he is just over the moon about, because Jeff has broken, much like I've broken, which we all, We shouldn't even call this a rule because we just break it.
It's not a rule. It's not
Constantly.
a rule. And I will remind everybody that's listening last episode that you made me do this. This is on you.
Sure.
Um,
To cut to the chase, Jeff has pre-ordered Final Fantasy
Yeah.
16. He's in it, folks. He's chocobo riding, Moogle kissing, Infrit casting. He's ready to go. What
I'm ready
what
to
made
go.
you pull the trigger?
Again, it's demos. I love the demos of what these AAA studios are now putting out. But this thing really caught my eye. And it's such... We were, again, talking before the show, Final Fantasy 16 is very much action. And I am not an action Final Fantasy game player. Like, we talk about Witcher. Witcher's great. Maybe that's the vibe I'm getting from this. But I'm very much turn-based Final Fantasy. I will always have that love, that nostalgia for the turn-based system. This game, again, it just got my hooks in it. Like, the story in the 2-hour demo, I am hooked. Like, it is like I'm reading a novel and I need to know what happens
Wow.
and not see it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube before I can get to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have that FOMO and I need to get in there.
So is it like what I eventually found with Final Fantasy VII Remake
Yeah.
was I actually got out of the action bit. I found it a bit easier just to like command my guys and what to do.
Yep. Okay.
So just how I ended up playing it. And it was one of the options you could choose, worked perfectly for me. But kind of at its base, at its core, there was still a loose turn-based system.
Yes.
This seems to be just full out Witcher, like God of War. Like they've just completely gone away with any notion of turn-based. Is that accurate? And does that not detract a bit from Final Fantasy?
That is 100% accurate. It's very action-based. And I think if you played Final Fantasy 15, it's very close to that. Like, that was a lot of action. I don't even know if it had turn-based systems in there, but you could flip around your characters. This one is solo, as far as I know, unless they have surprises. But yeah, very much God of War, Witcher / Devil May Cry. Like, a lot of that is in here. It's action-based. I would encourage you to try the demo, though. Like, there's something about it that is just clean and it's fun. And usually I don't enjoy a lot of those games that are action because I feel that, like, you're just mashing until their hit points go down enough. And God of War is the same way, but God of War is a different kind of visceral feeling. This is like, you do have to plan out your attacks, but it's really like on the go. Like, you need to be thinking your next move because all these kind of powers that you have are now, like, you have no time to think about them. That being said, there's some really neat accessibility options that they put in here for gaming dads like us.
Nice. That's music to my ears.
Yeah, so not only is there like difficulty options like story mode or like normal mode, and then I think there's an extra hard mode that's called Final Fantasy mode. They give you tools like equipable accessories that further help you in the game. So one is like, it'll always show you when to dodge.
Oh, wow.
So if you equip it, you're really never going to get hit unless it happens too fast. Like, the time bar will decrease, but it gives you the option to like auto dodge, right? There's another equipable one that gives you easy combos. So if you don't want to hit all the buttons to make a combo in an action game, you equip this accessory, it does it.
That's excellent.
Right? So I think they made like a neat accessibility option there where you can equip these and unequip them at any time. So like, I think that might help with people that are coming from that turn-based style into something action like this. And they're like, you know what? I don't want to handle all these things going on at once. Let me equip a couple of these accessories, see where that kind of middle ground is for me, and then play with that for a while. So it's really neat how they did it.
I think what's good too is because there is action beats. I don't want to call it Souls-like because it doesn't look that.
It's not as punishing.
Even the fighting style of it, like, it's much more action-y.
Yeah.
Whipping around, like slashing type stuff. But because it doesn't have that pedigree of, well, we have to punish the players and like we want to make our players hurt. Like Final Fantasy is not classically about making it easy, but it seems that they've at least embraced a bit more of like, let's get in here, enjoy the story, have a good time.
Yeah.
So since they're coming at it from that angle, gives them some options to allow for some dad friendly modes as you've described.
Exactly. Yeah, I should, this is a very mature game, so I wouldn't give it to my kids, but there's a lot of dark tones that happen in it, but I would be
Yeah.
interested to hear from any teenagers that play it, just,
Hmm.
how it works for them, because I think that they would want those super hard modes and dedicate the time, but also then the gaming dads can get in on it and just
Yeah.
be the same kind of, parallels where like, yeah, I'm this far in the story too because I have all these accessories helping me. But
Just too bad because in a different timeline, if your kids are a bit older, you'd be able to like send them in. Like, okay,
yeah,
pump up the difficulty, go mine some XP for me, and then I'll take back over and just make it all super easy just for good old dad here.
yeah. Just tell me when the cutscenes play. I want to watch those, and then you can go back.
Yeah. All right, so Final Fantasy 16. We'd love to hear from other gaming dads if they have also looked into it. I'll see about maybe is it available for PS4? That's only new generation.
It's only the new generation, so
Okay.
yeah, unfortunately,
Which is good. It's about time, man. Like
It is about time.
You cannot be held back from these old systems. So in that case,
Yeah.
I will not be playing the demo. So I'll be living vicariously through you. Cannot
That's-
wait to see you enjoy it. Now I guess that would make me jealous of you, and that's a good segue into the fact that we're very jealous of our kids because summertime's fast approaching. Mine actually get off this week. I believe
Wow.
your kids are off next week.
Next week, end of next week. So
And already, I don't know if your kids have already been planning with you, but they've come up to me and said, it's like, okay, so Dad, when we are in the summertime, like, what can we do? Is it, can we have like 3 hours of game in the morning or like 6? Like, how much game time can we have? It's like, I got to go to work, man. Like every day. Like, you know what my summer is? My summer just means I don't have to wake up at 6 to prepare the lunches.
yeah,
That's my summer vacation.
that's right.
But then I still got to go to work every day to pay for your downtime.
Yeah.
So, but the thought of just like my pre-purchase Diablo 4, I'm nowhere near getting through the campaign. I'm probably still like the first or second act, right? And my
not
kids come up,
surprising. Let's be honest. Like,
right? I'd like to beat it. I really would. But
Yeah.
I think about these kids who are going to have that like 2 or 3 hour section of time every day to kind of put in some game hours. Like, oh, that would be so amazing. That would be so nice. I don't know what the jealousy factor is doing for you at this point.
yeah, I'm in the same boat with you. Actually, my kid was off sick today, so I had a preview of the summer hours where they ran through an entire game, like from start to finish, and
That's
and
glorious.
just beat everything, got every collectible in it, and was done. And I didn't have the energy to stop. They were, he was feeling crummy, whatever. Like I remember watching movies as a kid when I was sick. This is his thing. I'll create a memory. That's awesome. But ran through an entire game. I'm like, okay, through summer, like we kind of like make some limits around, how much is happening. And now it's worse actually going to work because like I remote work and I believe you do as well. But now you get to hear like the laughter and everything else going on in the other room and like, oh my God, look at this thing. And you're missing out. You're like, oh.
I was like, Dad, come. We got a great level. This is so much fun. You got to come check it out. He's like, I'm working on a spreadsheet.
You should call them in. You're like, guys. I figured out this formula in Excel.
Come check it out. These tables are formatting. It's beautiful. You got to come help out.
Yeah, this is so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But bless them, man. Like, it's great. They're gonna get some great summer memories. But like, you harken back to a time. I think like the future, I suppose, us and this new generation of gaming dads have to look forward to is retirement.
Yeah.
Because I also think about the amount of time my kids have, but in many ways too, I think about the amount of time my parents have. Because they don't have anything to do. Like they're taking care of their house, but like that's not 12 hours a day. So imagine if you had these blocks of free time that you could just like play in the game. So if we reach into our 60s and we hit that golden retirement, like I think we're in for some golden years of gaming.
Do you think, okay, so my retirement plans, like a lot of people are like, I'm going to travel, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm like, I'm joining an esports league and I'm going to...
That exists. There's there's the Silver Foxes.
Exactly.
It's this pro sports team.
It totally should happen. And I think like that's our time, right? We get in on that level.
You know what's going to be better is because right now I believe the Silver Foxes, if I'm getting the name right, I believe they compete with other just normal esports teams.
Yeah.
But at this point, you'll be able to have like a seniors league.
That's what I mean. This would be perfect. And with our listeners all growing up at the same time, let's go.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Oh, I cannot wait to be there. All we have to do is keep this podcast going for another like 20 years.
Right.
We can easily transition into
Doable.
retirement. Old man gaming, retirement gaming.
That's
Welcome
right.
once again.
Yeah. Join us on Twitch and whatever the streaming platform.
Silver Dad League. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, bless them kids. Good luck to them. And man, bless us dads as we have to suffer through their
So
ample gaming
jealous.
time.
So jealous.
So of those kids, and speaking just quickly on other kids, we got sent a story this week. Listener of the show sent us a story that was being featured on a Reddit. This is their title and not mine. Okay. So we're going to work through this together.
That's not me.
And it's not what you think. So we have to say it as written. Do you touch other people's kids?
See, that needs a quick explanation.
The very first line of it is, no, not in that bad way.
Okay.
It's just like,
All right.
okay, thank you
That's
for
clear.
the qualifier. Do you touch other people's kids? No, not in the bad way. For example, I was pushing my daughter, 8, on a piece of playground equipment yesterday for Father's Day. Another kid came up and asked me to push her. This kid, I would guess, was no more than 5 or 6. No parents in sight to help her out. Would you have pushed her? What would you do? Another kid saw how much fun it was for my daughter and said, I wish I had someone to push me. I would estimate this kid was 10, and her parents weren't playing with her. Would you have pushed her in that case? It's like, I'm trying to think
What's your answer there, Trevor?
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Why are you putting me on the spot? So I'll say the one I have is that in the one of the playgrounds where my kid plays soccer, our kids go afterwards, there's this one device. It's like a cone made out of rope that spins.
Okay.
So it's like a big merry-go-round, except it's all like rope ladders that kind of like go up to a peak, and there's like 2 levels that you can get onto.
Yeah. I think we have to. Yep.
I'm sure there's a word for it, but it's a merry-go-round, but it's like a cone shape with like rope ladders. And kids love being spun on this, right? So, but you get these like tiny little weak kid legs trying to like go fast, and kids don't want to go that tiny. So get that weak stuff out of here. They want a big, strong adult to come up and just whirl them around right up to the point of being unsafe.
Right.
And that's what I'm about. So so many times, like we'll be, my 2 sons will get on, and maybe there's one other kid, hopefully like of the older persuasion, and I'll just start to whip them around, just whirling around. They're screaming, laughing. It's great. And then the exact scenario from that story happens, where other kids from across the park are like, oh, look at how dangerous that is. And they come sprinting over to like jump in. And then lo and behold, they all get on. And again, I'm just kind of like spinning. So in that case, I am the other adult, the parent in this case, fortunately, that is, providing the physical entertainment for all these other kids.
Right.
And now if it was a swing where it's like you're going to have to kind of actually like touch the child, it's like, it's in a modern, all things being equal, like forgetting modern context and everything like that, a sweet child comes up, would you please mind giving me a push? Sure, darling, I don't mind. Not a big deal. And you give a couple pushes. Totally innocent, not a problem. They're having fun. It's great. You know what I mean? But the problem is like you do put on some modern contexts into it, and it could get kind of squirrely, because is a parent going to come around the corner and yell at me? Is it going to look weird? It becomes an entire thing. So where are you landing on this then?
I'm on a no-touch basis.
Yeah, Trevor, that's a real easy answer.
Really,
I'm surprised you talk so much.
No. I would say, so the rope ladder thing, like that's a whole like ride. Okay. So you're just moving the ride, and if people want to get on the ride, that's fine.
You're just an engine. You are a 2-stroke motor.
That's
just
right.
Pushing around.
It's just going around. For a swing, that is a little bit too individual, and you're like, I'm not sure. If it is a kid I know, right? Like I know them, I know their parents. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that because I know their parents, and they're not going to see some strange man in a park pushing my kid. Right? I think there's a line there that is just like, well, would I want that to happen with me? Like if I came and saw my kids I'd be like, what is going on?
that's probably the proper way to think about it, because it. No, honestly.
Yeah. Right?
Because in the scenario I laid out, it's like Lever to Beaver, 1920, like 30s, 50s, like everything's like happy-go-lucky. Yeah, everything's happy-go-lucky. The thought of maybe giving some other kid a push, fine. But I come around the corner and there's some other adult man pushing my kid in the swing and my kid is like laughing. It's like, oh, that does upset me.
Yeah.
Can't explain why. There's a boundary, like you said, that's crossed. So that's probably the better way to think about it, is to put yourself, however, much like you said, in the rope merry-go-round version.
Yeah.
I could care less. That's great. Like, yeah, you're the engine, spend your energy, get the kids around. That's great. But then for the swing, I would be upset. So it's probably put yourself in the other parent's shoes, right?
Yeah. And it's the same thing with anything like that that's just general enjoyment. I remember, like, I had a water gun and some random kids are like, squirt me. And I'll be like, okay. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's whatever. Like, I'm not doing anything. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, the swings, nah.
Yeah, but it's a bit intimate. It's a bit personal.
Yeah, not too much.
So, hey, put yourself in the other father's shoe.
We solved it.
All right.
That's right.
Should go back and write that answer specifically. On the podcast this week, we had a riveting discussion, as we do every week. And with that, we'll wrap it up for the week. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the podcast, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. We're talking Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. What really helps out the show, if we could ask you for a favor, would be to go ahead and subscribe. That really does help out the numbers, and especially if you rate it and leave a comment, that boosts the signal for other gaming dads and helps out the show greatly. We'd be eternally grateful if you could do that. Did you have a message? Did you have a question? Did you have a quandary? Did you have a suggestion? Summer of beer, heck. Gaming Dad Luke, thank you so much for the message week. That was an awesome brain teaser to try to work out, like, what's the perfect puzzle piece that's going to solve this gaming puzzles. And I'm hoping we can hear from some other gaming dads. But that type of dialogue, we love this stuff. So please do reach out to us. Do you have a question, comment, quandary, piece of advice you want to give? newdadgaming.com. Go ahead and contact us or reach out to us on Twitter @newdadgaming. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a pre-order.
And a dirty pre-order. It's not a rule. It's just
It's not a
pre-ordered.
rule.
If we like it, we pre-order it. No harm, no foul. Life is short. And dads need some fun too.
I like it. Look at that. That's great. Yeah, we'll live by that.
It's freedom, Jeff. Freedom now.
We're just collecting for our retirement, right?
This is just we're loading up our retirement. Our retirement fund. It's a stack of games. That's gonna do us because we won't be able to afford anything else.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Till next week. Wait, I already said that part. Next part is just remember, just because you became a dad
does not mean it's game over.
All right. See you next week.
See you in retirement.
Yeah.